get it.
This high school football field is as close as Joe Morris can get to his passion. But it didn't used to be that way. Morris played 9 seasons in the NFL and won a Super Bowl with the 1986 New York Giants. He's also Syracuse University's all-time leading rusher. Morris says he'd like to be involved with the game he loves.
I want to be the assistant general manager, or the assistant to the assistant, where I come in and every day help you evaluate players, evaluate talent.
But for this former NFL star living in New Jersey, landing that hasn't been easy. Morris says the NFL doesn't give minority former athletes enough opportunities.
When you see qualified black candidates who don't even get a chance to interview for jobs, or they're in job situations where they're not allowed to interview, that's a problem for me.
Morris believes that problem shouldn't exist for athletes who have playing experience, business experience, and an education. Morris earned a bachelor's in history. He holds real estate and insurance licenses and co-owned an arena football team. He believes the NFL overlooks people with the best credentials.
Best person for the job gets the job, but it doesn't work that way. It's the old boiled network first. That's how it's always been, that's how it will be forever.
And this same network may have cost John Lobon an opportunity to play and even work in the NFL. Lobon and 7 other black teammates formed the Syracuse 8. In 1970, they boycotted SU football because they confronted racism and wanted a minority coach. Lobon believes the group's viewpoints ruined his and his teammates' chances to make it to the pros.
John Lobon?
He heard the bad news from a former coach.
You've been blackballed or blacklisted from the NFL because they consider you militants and troublemakers. So it was not based on my ability that I was not allowed to try out for a position in the NFL.
The NFL may have passed up on Lobon, but he's found success working as a loan officer in Connecticut. Lobon displays memorabilia from his playing days in his basement. They help keep his passion for football alive. The only honor missing is one from the NFL, because he spoke his mind.
When I stood up for what I believe, I was wrong, because you don't supposed to do that. I'm not going to be subservient to no one. I'm a child of God like anybody else.
Lobon believes his sacrifices helped open up the doors for more minorities to enter the college coaching ranks, which has also helped minorities enter the NFL's coaching ranks.
Stay back!
Like Herman Edwards, one of 2 African-American head coaches in the NFL today. Despite his achievements, Edwards says the NFL's front offices and coaching staffs need more workplace diversity.
I think when you open your doors and understand that there's people that might not be the same color, might not believe in the same religion, but have the same aspirations you do, then I think you have to have those, invite those people in and have communication so you can understand that, hey, that they're trying to be successful just like you.
That understanding is a top priority for the business called professional football. NFL spokesman Greg Aiello says the league is tackling the issue.
Well, it's a subject that the commissioner believes very strongly in, that you make yourself stronger by having a diverse workplace in the world we're in today.
The NFL says it's been making progress, but a large majority of the NFL's front office, league office, and its coaching ranks are still predominantly white men. Some sports industry scholars and leaders say that progress has been slow. Consider the latest report by Northeastern University's Center for the Study of Sport and Society. It shows that as of 2001, out of 31 teams, all NFL team chairmen and presidents were white. Only 1 was a woman. 27 team general managers and player personnel directors were white men. 4 were African American men. Out of 151 team vice presidents, 85% were white men, 8% were African American men, and only 7% were women. But Aiello says the NFL is making progress because 70% of the league's players are now African American. He says the NFL's internship programs are also helping to provide opportunities for minority candidates.
And this year we know we'll have another record number of black coaches in the league, up to 150, which is about 30% of our coaches. There are only now 32 head coaching jobs, 32 general managers jobs. We also have to recognize the very finite number of jobs we're talking about. We don't have a huge workforce compared to other companies.
But sports industry consultant Kenneth Shropshire disagrees. He says that turnover rates in decision-making positions are much higher than people think.
How often has the turnover occurred, or how often has the problem been, we need a new GM, we need a new director of player personnel, that in those most important of positions, those turn over much more rapidly than the vice president of marketing at IBM or some other, the treasurer of Philip Morris. Those positions are stable relative to the high-powered positions in sports.
We all think we can do more and do better, and it's something we're trying to do. We certainly understand frustration of people who would like to work in the NFL or would like to move up. They're in the NFL and would like to move up, and they feel they can't get there. But that's not restricted to minorities.
Sports sociology professor Ellen Staurowsky doesn't buy it.
And when you look at the ownership structure and when you look at the decision-making structure, it's primarily all white. I think that that one has to really seriously question what's going on there. And I think to ignore the fact that there is some kind of a race barrier of some sort, I think is just too easy.
The views from the playing field differ. New York Giants running back Tiki Barber says it's an important issue and he's optimistic.
You see minorities taking positions, high positions, and eventually it'll seep into the NFL. Eventually, sports will overcome those stereotypes and those misperceptions about minority coaches not being smart enough or not being able enough. And then this won't be an issue. It'll just be a piece of history that we've made our way through.
Other players don't want to talk about it.
And I don't like to get into all the, the minority stuff with that. But, like I said, our job is just to play. We're players, but you have to play.
Tim Green, a former SU Orangeman and Atlanta Falcon, says enough progress hasn't been made. Green has written several books dealing with life in the NFL. He says it's beyond the argument that the NFL owners aren't exposed to enough qualified minorities.
It's certainly a form of racism. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that it's an overt proactive, but subtle and maybe just as or more nefarious than an overt form of racism.
Green is optimistic. He says the public should care about racial issues in sports because they reflect the world we live in.
I think probably just as dangerous to our society is destruction from within, and that could happen if we don't become more and more tolerant. I think it's a better place than it was 20 years ago and a better place than it was 40 years ago as far as intolerance. But in my mind, until it's eradicated completely, we still have a lot of work to do.
NFL Players Union Director Gene Upshaw is working hard so the NFL reaches that goal. He believes the NFL Commissioner wants to increase diversity, but it's still the owner's decision.
What you should basically ask yourself, does this person fit into our organization? Can he support and advance our organization and represent it in a proper way? Why should the color of his skin be an issue here? I can't believe in 2002 we're still talking about the color of your skin.
We contacted several NFL teams and requested an on-camera interview with either an owner or a team president. Nobody wanted to talk to us about the issue. Back in Connecticut, John Lobon shares his past struggles and experiences with younger athletes.
It's probably one of the best rewards that I can now do is give them a true life history of realism as relates to what they may encounter in their life to come.
And for Joe Morris, he recalls one of his college coach's motivating words.
10 years from now, Joe Morris is not going to be in trouble. He's not going to be doing anything wrong. He's going to be helping someone, somewhere, do something right. If he's playing football, if he's not playing football, he's going to be successful in his life. I've been a success in my life. I'm struggling right now, but I'll get to where I get to.
And hopefully that destination will keep him close to the game he loves. Dhaval Sheth, Magazine 13.